receives community development block grant monies every year, and as part of the citizen participation plan, we have to have a public hearing. And as part of that, we let you know what the 2023 application amounts are. Project activity is $83,056, and then the administrative fee 18% on top of that. Kiski Township will receive $101,287 for the year. As prior years for Kiski Township, since 1985, they've received $4.2 million in CBG monies. Those monies have been utilized for sewer, water, housing rehab, street reconstruction. So and those are all eligible expenses. As part of that, we also have the 3-year plan, and within that 3-year plan, we note the short-term plan, which is what we are currently doing, the Brownstown area road reconstruction. We have in the hopper to do the Brownstown Park Improvements Project. We've also used funds for the Kiski Township Food Bank Project, and we possibly could use funds for another housing rehab project. We are required to submit the application October 27th on your behalf, and the county will also hold a second public hearing on your behalf, and that will include all the entitlements, which include Kiski, Manor, and any county projects. As of today is your first public hearing, so you will not need to do a second public hearing. However, I would anticipate a date to schedule a project to put one online at your next meeting in September, so that we can get everything in line for submission of the application. Other than the short-term projects, as you know, the eligible activities as what we have used is water, sewer, park improvements, housing rehab. As part of that, you not only have to be eligible, but you have to be fundable. So to be fundable, the beneficiaries have to be at least 51% of low and moderate income. We can do that in an actual demographic survey. And that's how we determine whether that particular area, those beneficiaries will benefit from that project. So that's where we are right now. So we are going to have to decide on how we want to work our 2023 projects. And so I would open up the floor if anybody has any additional projects you could think of that we could look at, if there's anything else any grievances or comments or whatever regarding the block grant.
Well, question, I know recently there's been previously about cemeteries. Like I know that down Old State Road, there's been an abandoned cemetery, it's been overgrown. Could any of this money be used towards that?
It's not ineligible.
Okay.
It's not ineligible use, sorry.
But could we use the road improvements?
Road reconstruction.
Okay. But no, like right now, they have numerous ones falling apart. Like some of the ones that are called Ohio Street, California, that would be one between the highway, short ones.
Okay. The only thing is, like I had mentioned, that is an eligible expense. Then we have to make sure that it's a fundable expense. And for that to be fundable, who are the beneficiaries? Like who would benefit from that street reconstruction? And then we would have to do a demographic survey, and within that survey, then we would have to be 51% or more low income.
Kathy, what's your number 2024?
2023?
23? Okay.
Yes, 2023 is, the total amount that we will receive is $101,287.
Thank you.
And $83,000 of that would be considered for project activity.
Do you know what percentage of income you have to pay to meet the threshold?
It's 51%, and one person, one household was a little over 45,000.
Kathy, for a park project, we talked about the park over Jackson Road, which we got from Morgan on Watershed Association. Talked about some improvements to that. Would that also come under the income eligibility requirements?
Yes, who would be the beneficiaries? That's,
It'd be a township park for use,
that it would be used by all township citizens.
it's open to township.
So therefore, we would have to do surveys. Now, we can do a random survey, but you have to make sure you get 100% return. If you do a random survey and not a specific every household.
So those ones, like I see Apollo is doing like their, homes, they're doing like they're doing like home repairs for people. Those homes be used for like that, or,
What do you mean by home repairs?
and like, I know they're going around like different places in Apollo, like people are painting houses
And that's a totally different project. Now, housing rehab, we can, if we have used housing rehabilitation, okay? But what happens there is that household has to be low money income.
That's doing that. That's what I was trying to think.
It's a little bit different. There's a little bit more regulations involved on our side of it for community development block grant monies. But we have, Kiski has used a lot of their funds for housing rehab. There's nothing else.
Okay. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it.
I will be in touch, and we'll have to see what we want to do then, so we can make a decision at your next meeting, okay? Okay.
I was sorry to see that the Kiski water line project didn't qualify.
We tried, and it came in at 29%, so it was fundable, but not eligible.
So next meeting, you want a decision by next meeting?
Yes.
On what we're to spend this money.
Yes. Okay, you good? Okay.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Dr. Keith, sign
Yeah.
Yeah, where is it?
Oh, there it is.
Oh, I got it.
I got it. Fine.
Thank you.
Township solicitor, defendant.
Yes, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Some of you may not have been here at the last meeting, but my name is Myron Sonovich, and I was hired at the last meeting to be your new solicitor. So this evening, the first thing I want to hand out to the board, we have been discussing the possibility of bonding and posting some of the roads when people are using them for construction projects and things like that. Now, municipalities are encouraged to bond their roads and set weight limits so that we don't have an issue with taxpayers having to maintain the roads. What happens is then these roads, once the weight limits are set, then the hauler or the person driving over the road must take out a bond, and if they harm the roads, then we're able to fix the roads with the bond money as opposed to using taxpayer money. The handout that I just gave the board basically sets forth the steps that are required for them to do that. Now, last meeting we talked about bonding some of the roads, and I believe they're going to give the engineer permission this evening to look at a couple of the roads, take core samples, and then decide how they're going to set weight limits on those roads. So in anticipation of that, I prepared an ordinance for Kiski, which would permit them to review this and to advertise for the next meeting an ordinance which would allow the engineer to designate those roads. Yeah. Can you have it? Yeah, sure. I have a couple extra. Anybody else? we're not, first of all, what happens is, unless you have a study done by the township engineer who sets the weight for the road, then any weights that you put on the road, you can put a sign up, but it's unenforceable with magistrates or at the common pleas level. So, since we're going to be going forward with this, I had talked to Mr. Bono about it, and so I've prepared the ordinance in anticipation of what's going to happen. So that way we don't have to wait this month, go into next month to get these roads bonded, because some trucks are using the roads now, and we're experiencing damage on those roads. In addition to that, because we have certain people digging up roads and doing things in the township, I prepared now this isn't in final form, but this is a street excavation and paving cuts. And they'll be required to follow the outline of PennDOT, so that when someone comes through, like a gas company or electric company or someone else and digs up the road, they're not just permitted to patch the spot that they dug up. Because some of the roads, let's say we fixed them, and they dig them up, and then they just put a patch in there, they've ruined our nice road. This isn't in final form. We're gonna have to do this as an ordinance also if we wanna go forward. Yeah, you can have it. Oh, that's it. All right. Anybody else wants to get a towel, just make coffees up, I'm sure you can give them.
Myra,
Yes.
just so you're aware, 2 years ago, we ratified our road ordinance, which basically follows that on. Any curb to curb.
They have made some changes, but that's why I asked you. Yeah, they have made some changes in the past 2 years. So I wanted to make sure that everything that you have, including the definitions of everything, and who's permitted to do it. Now, you'll note that in there, it says Public Works Director. I figure you have a roadmaster, but I'm thinking that maybe whoever the roadmaster is, you may still have a a township supervisor who is in charge or over that person or part of it. So we can change the word. I mean, this is safe as a Word document. But since some of the changes were made, I thought better off to bring this to you now, because we're dealing with the roads, we're trying to improve them, and we certainly don't want people tearing them up and then not fixing them, or us not having the specific requirements that are, that we need to have, so that these roads aren't, just patched willy-nilly and somebody doesn't have it. Okay? That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Myron, I do understand, correct me if I'm wrong, the contractor is hauling over the roads, Ohio Street and Florida Avenue. We can still go after him now for the damages, is that correct?
Well, I informed, somebody can't say, I informed the supervisors that here's what's happening. We have a road that I asked them to take pictures of to check to see what it's like now. Now, if there are substantial damages to the road, we can always file suit for the damage that they've done. But since the roads aren't really posted correctly, it's going to be sort of uphill walking in sand a little bit, trying to get that money. And we'll see how badly the roads are damaged, and then we'll be able to make a determination as to whether or not we want to file something to go forward to move against them. It's going to be very difficult. So that's why I prepared the ordinance tonight. The engineer will probably be given authority today to take the core samples, to designate the roads. We'll get them in, and then now, whatever shape the road is in, they'll still be required to bond. So we're not going to, they can't say, oh, well, you didn't have this in effect whenever we started. No, since you started, we found out that the roads are being damaged. We're going to do the core samples. We're going to find out what the damages are, and then we'll be able to move forward against them, and they'll have to bond the road. When we told them about bonding the road, and Mr. Bono verified this for me, they said, well, let me see your engineering study that shows us what the weight should be on that road. And since we don't have it, the lawyers for them to just thumb their noses at it. Okay, so that's what we're doing.
Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome. That's it.
How's it been here? Landlord?
Real quickly, Brownstown Road, I was just talking to Kathy, she's still waiting on one or two items from Tresco to actually close that out with the county. And then once she has that in place, then I will be signing off on the construction. So that, to close out that CPV project. An update on Rose Street. The contractor was supposed to start Monday. We're still working through some issues with tax acceptance from the authority. So they're either going to postpone it a little bit longer, or they're going to try to get the vendors to hold off on the fees and let them get started so they can pay them once that's done. They'll have to pay the taxes on it because it's going to the authority. So as soon as that happens, then construction will begin one way or the other.
Focus straight at this week,
Yeah.
or very early next week.
The other thing is we did submit the estimate or proposal for doing the surveys on the roads, remaining on all the roads in the township. So we should have that for you, that kind of that today. That's
Be good shape copy of that.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Public comment on agenda items. Anybody signing for those? Yep. Question on the agenda items?
Gary Dunbar?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I called about, on 911, I called 911 on, Saturday, on July 29th, about, a burning, and, it was going on for like 6 hours, and I called at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and, I got a hold of 911, and then they put me into 911 to Armstrong, and talked to a police officer, and he said he would get back with me on what was the cause, and they left me to believe that it was, they were burning, the old Graham house down on, 2nd Street Extension, up there by the football field, and there was no house being burnt, it was somebody burned, a 60-foot pine tree below the Graham house.
While it was still standing?
Huh?
While it was still standing?
No, he cut it down and he was burning
I got
it.
it.
Whatever he was putting on it, I have no idea, but it was filling the whole hall up with smoke. And, I mean, it was bad, I mean, really bad. But I don't know what he was dumping on it or putting on it, but it was, and nobody got back with me. I just rode up there and I looked and it was, the house wasn't being burned. And that's what I was thinking, it was a controlled burn, and they were burning the house down. But no, it wasn't, but nobody got back with me, so. And
The
then,
police chief couldn't be here tonight, Pat, can you contact the chief and ask to follow up Mr. Dunbar on that?
yeah, nobody called me.
The burning ordinance states you're allowed to burn dry wood and paper.
Yeah, and
Not
what about
the-
burning ordinance, is there no burning ordinance of, but that was on those 3-4 days that we were having a code red of, heat and stuff like that, and they was burning. So it shouldn't have been,
Well, again, that should be handled by the police department, but the burning ordinance says you're allowed to burn dry wood and paper. If the tree was dead, it should burn, and they shouldn't be putting tires on it or anything like that.
I don't know what it was, but it was black, I mean,
Didn't the
I
fire
don't
department know
know.
about this?
Don't know.
But it was very bad, I mean, it was like 6 hours, and then 2 hours past 3 o'clock till like 5. And,
Okay. Mr. Boda's gonna contact the chief and have him, ask him to follow up with you on that, why they didn't get back to you.
And what about the ordinance on, taking upkeep on your yard and, stuff like that, and
Okay,
junk?
yeah, I apologize, I'm sort of getting off track here. This is supposed to be for items on the agenda only. Your complaints would come at the end of the meeting for non-agenda items. I apologize for that. So let's follow up on yours at the end of the meeting. We'll have another period for non-agenda items. So we'll call on you later for those items.
Okay.
Okay, any other items on the agenda tonight? Anybody sign up?
Jim?
First off, I'd like to thank you guys for at least providing some of the financial for us, so it's more transparent for us to at least see what's available, what's there. I appreciate that. So thank you very much. Two, like I see, we hired a full-time police secretary. If we're considering a merger, I don't see why we should be hiring more full-time employees and stuff like that. When we're considering a merger, take account the number of employees we have now. We probably have more employees now than we did 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
Employees where?
In the township.
In the police department?
Police department, road works, the whole way in general, I'm saying in general.
Okay. So there's only should be one full-time here and a part-time, or 3-4 years ago, there was 3 people in there.
Okay, I mean, police was part-time, we only had 3 road crew workers for years. I mean, we were, and the police officers have increased over the years, and I don't think the crime rate or anything's increased, so I think we
Maybe
should,
that's keeping it down since we have less police officers.
but it hasn't gone up to justify the increase, so you have to have something to justify. So I think we need to evaluate our spending. Before things are just presented to the board and accepted, that's why we're in the business we are, because some of the board, no, I know Jeff wasn't here for any of it, so, I mean, for the rest of the board, we purchased all these police cars and everything, just, okay, yeah, we can do it. I even brought up about taxes, we afford it, and everything was said, oh yeah, we have money, it'll be done, and meanwhile, here it is, it's not. Now we're looking to regionalize, so I think the board needs to overlook the budget a little more before they jump ahead and spend. Like I said, full-time police secretary, I don't know if we ever had one full-time. So, I mean.
We did for a while, then she was down to part-time, but yes. we
Like I
did
said,
full-time.
some of these spendings we're considering going to regionalize, why be spending money excessively, if that is an option.
Thank you. Thank you.
Jeff and Kathy Gray?
Good evening. You touched on it partially already about the engineering study about Ohio Street, which is fine. We have pictures from last night where I took a level and showed that some are 8 inches deep. It's no longer a destruction of the road problem. It's a safety issue. There's a section of that road you cannot travel without doing damage to your car. Not an SUV, but a car. You have to move to the other lane to get around. With the triaxles coming up and down, it's not safe to bring that through. I don't know if you can register this as a complaint for the end of the meeting, but there has to be some way to remedy it now. Whether you go to the state, Sugar Hollow Road is a state road, maintained, it should already have a study done. And if they're overweight, they should not be allowed even to get to Ohio Street. Part B, is that a legal dump up there at Emmons property? Did they sign off consent to allow them to put dirt and raw sewage over that hill?
It should be dirt anyway,
You know, it's,
my estimation.
yeah, I don't know why they're dumping it at all. It's raw sewage coming out and replacing pipelines. At the
Presently hazardous material, it should be handled as hazardous material and disposed of as such at a facility.
So, who pursues that?
DEP, I would say. If they're even rehabilitating a sewage system, I almost guarantee they're in concert with the DEP doing in the project. They have to do that.
And a solution in the interim, can't that road be made for residential only? While they're destroying it, that it's local traffic only, since it's a safety hazard?
Well, you heard our solicitor's comments on that. we're putting rock in our place.
I heard all the background on it.
Yeah, we were up there 2 weeks ago, we took pictures of Florida, we went to High Street. I haven't been up since, I'm sure it is worse now.
Worse than last 10 days.
And I talked to PennDOT today about the whole issue. Our PennDOT Municipal Services representative, Jim Burgundy, called me today, because he received complaints from citizens on Ohio Street to PennDOT, so he called me. And I told him what the situation was, and I said, hey, is there anything we can do as a stopgap to this, like immediately? He said, I'm gonna go talk to our legal team at PennDOT and get back to you. So like an hour and a half later, he called me back, he goes,
No, he's right.
and it's not even.
We dig a ditch across, well, we dig a ditch across it and close it.
Well, we could say we're working on it and just dig a trench and say, sorry, nobody.
Between somebody's driveway.
Yeah.
And we'll go the other way.
And he said, legally, there's nothing you can do about it right now. He says, when you have gone out without Sugar Hall Road, he says, we don't want that, you can do anything you want. I'm like,
He'll
well,
just come up. He'll come up.
I think I talked to you last week. Or you
He'll drive
might.
right over. He'll destroy the other side.
But we have pictures for tonight if you want.
You can't close off.
Anything you
But
can
it's
give me.
just, now it's safety, it's no
Yeah, I'll
longer.
copy him and get back to you, but yeah.
You can have, it. we have it.
No, you can have them.
Okay.
Because they're not.
On safety?
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
I noticed whenever they went over to the police department over in front of them about all this stuff up there, they went to half truck. That lasted about a week, and then they started filling the trucks the whole way back up again. And then all out there. There's a driveway up there they use it to get to where this dump is. They tore it up. And the poor lady, she can't get down there to tell them to fix it, so I stopped and I told them they had to fix it. They didn't do that, and I told them, you know, you're tearing this road up. They said, they didn't care.
They're gonna be here.
Well, I think that the township secretary can contact the DEP if there is some lawsuit, because they will definitely come down and investigate.
Yeah, did you smell lawsuits at all?
I know the water authority has a permit to dump their dirt out there. I don't know if the water authority are working off the water authority's permit or not. But I know the water authority has. a
They
permit.
can't, you're not allowed to piggyback on permits.
Yes, okay.
Our engineer will tell you that. And the ones that we have now, with the new excavation, streets and things, also says within that ordinance that no one can transfer a permit from one to another. So that if somebody else starts coming in and they say, well, it's a different group, too bad, they gotta get another permit in another book.
So I know the water authority has a permit to.
Which is something that they used to, well, what they used to do, that some contractors and some people tried to do. Okay, saying, well, we took over for them, we bought them out, we have their lawn, which isn't true.
Can I say something?
Sure.
Related to this?
Yes. I contacted.
What's your name, sir?
My name's Dave Mason. I live on Ohio Street.
Hey, Dixon?
Dave Mason.
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 M-A-C-E.
Mason.
I live on Ohio Street. I did contact the DEP, Stephanie Foster and the DEP. They're unaware of this project going on, as far as they know.
They're unaware of it?
That's what they told me.
I haven't texted to them now.
Okay. We're checking with that right now.
You work with her.
Yeah.
I don't, but I work with the other ones. Never heard of her.
You're the point man on this.
We're checking it right now. We'll have an answer pretty shortly. Thank you. Thank you.
I have text him right now.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
We go up there with some gravel and
We'll talk about that.
Yeah, but you're gonna pound that road in the sand pretty soon.
Okay,
we'll get moving up now.
that's all for public agenda items. Public comment, agenda items, only sewage authority,
So they were,
other than what
is that all?
Mr. Edwards said, we hope to start the improvement project hopefully next Monday. There's a little chink in the operation there, so we're trying to work through that and hopefully start next Monday.
Just a point of affirmation, for the road streets, we have pipes that are not lined up properly in this line. So you can guarantee there's going to be sewage in the stone and the soil. It was actually written into the specification when they removed that material. There's sewage material in the overburden or the spoils that it had to be taken to a secure landfill. That's how it's written in our spec. So if they're dumping it out in the open,
They'll be disposed of properly. Okay, the planning commission, Nick Bass is going to address the board on the planning commission.
There's a couple of things here that we wanted to talk about. The commission discussed a proposal for low and no impact business. It's one of the things we were going to put on our chapter 27, but it looks like that's going to be a few years out. So what we did is we got together and borrowed from some other townships some information, and we come up with a no low impact home-based business application. Now, we don't have an ordinance for anything like that, but I think it's something we need to look at the township. The planning commission says we need, Phil, we need to look at this. There are a lot of people who like to start a business in our township that can't, especially if they're just gonna be working out of their home, don't have anybody coming there or anything. So I think you got a copy of this in your, yeah, okay. But, it's one of the things the planning commission would like to see, township and supervisors, work on it and see if they can come up with an ordinance that we can put in so people can go ahead and start like small businesses in the township.
Let me just ask a question. You're gonna designate certain areas within the zoning to do that?
No, this would be open basically for the whole township. They would have to follow the ordinance and follow the application to make sure that they can start a business in their home.
And this would be no one coming in, like, when you talk about low impact, you talk about beauty shops and things like
Yeah,
that?
stuff like that, something that you would want, like if you're a fly fisher and you can tie flies and you want to start a little business out of your garage, sell them online, you'd be able to do that.
Can't do that, you have to have an ordinance to do that, selling something.
I think you have to have an ordinance.
Well, here's what happens. Most of the businesses and things that are like that, you have to register them. You would have to have an ordinance only because you have to limit what people are able to do. For example, if let's just say you started a home beauty shop and you allow someone to do that, then all of a sudden they start putting tanning booths inside and now you have cars parking and things like that. The only way you can do it to limit what activities you're going to be in a low impact business is to make up an ordinance. For example, I know that after COVID, some people realized that they didn't need such a large, let's say, footprint in office spaces. So what happens is certain engineers, lawyers, other people, they're working from their home, doing Zoom and this and that kind of stuff, where no one comes, no one visits them, but they're working out of their home. Some people don't even report that because it's all internet and who cares? I think what he's describing though is when you're starting to do that, and let's say I have a fly fishing thing and I'm going to do this. Now all of a sudden I'm getting an EIN number where I'm selling online that I can be taxed for what I'm doing. Now they start saying pieces of their home or for their business and they try writing that off with the IRS. You need to make sure that they get permitted to do that. Otherwise, those people could be audited and have a problem. So,
But couldn't you just get a post office box in Spring Church and say that
oh yeah, you can do things like that, yes. Yes, but the point is, if you're using a portion of your home for a business, you're entitled to a deduction from your income. So people would want to do that.
I understand that, I don't understand the need for ordinance. If you're operating in your house, how does that affect anybody else if you don't have anybody coming?
Let me give you an example. A low impact might be someone giving piano lessons. Well, that's no more than somebody coming and visiting. So one car comes in, they give a piano lesson, the person leaves, and maybe within the next half hour another person comes. If it's low impact like that, you can't, because what you're going to have happen is people are going to start stretching what low impact may be and what they're doing out of their homes. And then you might as well just say everything's commercial. You know what I mean? You just can't do it. It's only a protection it's a protection for the people who are living next to the person who's got it.
Well, that's what I was trying to get at, what you said, internet sales doesn't affect anybody else. Piano lessons does.
Right.
Beauty shop does. Places where people come.
But you're looking at taxation when they have to register the business.
Yeah, I guess I just don't see why the township should care.
Because a low impact business, you can collect some taxes from. Business tax.
What you're saying, no impact, though. No impact business, one of them, be.
Basically, a no-impact business is, you're running a business out of your house, nobody's coming to your house, nobody's coming there to buy anything, most of it's being done online. A low-impact business is where maybe you only have 2 or 3 people a day stopping in for something like you were saying, like piano lessons or something like that. That's, you know, and like you're saying, somebody will start a no-impact business and say, well, I think I'll start doing this. First thing you know, it becomes a low-impact business where they have people coming into their house all the time. So that's one of the things with the application. You have something saying, I was started a no-impact business, not a low-impact business. That's the reason for the application. Well, what we did, we looked at other townships, like ours, and we pulled some of the information they had and put one together specifically for the township.
And you see from what you've taken from someone else, you're saying blah, 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 and then it's saying applicant's tax ID number.
Yes.
So you're asking them for their tax ID number, which means if we have a local business tax,
Yeah.
they would have to pay the township for the money that they're making from their home.
Yeah.
So it's money that you would lose if you don't have something like this.
And if I can interject.
Sure.
Just from playing devil's advocate, if you're selling fishing flies, and you get very good at it, and you have, UPS or FedEx coming to your house every day, then you're still, as opposed to having something delivered occasionally,
Yeah.
that could be an impact.
Yeah.
Even though you're calling it an impact.
And see, and then when they do this, if in fact it becomes too much, now you can enforce and say, you're not going to do that in your house now. I'm going to go find a storefront.
We have limited on how much space you can use in your house for that type of business, so that you don't end up taking the whole house over, and no place to live.
And the best thing about this is it permits somebody to open a low-impact business in their house without having to get their property rezoned as a business.
Or have to do a variance.
Yeah, that's what I mean, the various have rezoned as business, yeah. So this, by application, just to the township office, gives them the opportunity to open that business without going through the zoning variance to change their.
Yeah, right now, if you want to start a no or a low impact business, you have to go through a variance.
Well, understand this though. When you talk about the zoning board and you talk about variances are only for lot sizes and things like that. If you're talking about a use variance, now that's different than a regular variance, all right? A lot of times what we have is we have municipalities who will have, even zoning officers, code enforcement officers, and other people, they'll tell someone what they need. If you have someone that's doing that for you now, which I'm not sure of, please tell them, don't tell the person what they need. Because we were just in the Commonwealth Court over a home that was going to be used, and they wanted to have, it was like, almost like a women's shelter. Now, they only stay there for a period of time and they come in, but here's what happens. They put it in a residential area where it's not multi-use. So what happens is, the people next door have different people coming in and out all the time. Maybe you have some disgruntled spouse or partner or somebody coming there, and all of a sudden we have a police problem. We've had it where we've had people have a garage, they put in a couple of tanning beds, and when you come in to get the sign up, they give you a key. Now, the people that are in the house, they don't watch the people going in and out. They just come in, they got them on camera, who's the person that's allowed to be there, that's what happens, and so now you have cars coming in and out. That wasn't what it was supposed to be in the beginning. So again, you just have to be very careful, and this is a very good idea, so.
Any other questions on that, guys? Jeff, any other questions on
Okay, one other thing, in the planning commission, just about every one of us on the planning commission has been asked a question about, having chickens. I'd really like to see if you guys could take a look at, see if you can put some kind of hen laying, ordinance in for chickens, because, I mean, it's just about every township now, almost every borough has some kind of ordinance. And there's some good ones out there that I'm sure you could pull from without having to sit down and write your own. Yeah, I mean, it would be something, I think a lot, and I think a lot of people in the township are just getting the chickens and not, not doing it the way they're supposed to do it, so.
I know Becky's had requests from people to have, laying hens. Problem, and it'd be handled by the ordinances, you're not allowed to have any roosters. They're the ones who cause trouble.
Right.
So.
What do they do?
They make a lot of noise.
Go to the other ones.
Wake your neighbors at 5 o'clock in the morning. But there is a board ordinance, local municipality, this is off the one here from last month or so.
Just realize.
Covers everything.
I'm the attorney for the city of Aliquippa, and I don't know if you saw it on the news, but we had an individual who had snakes in their home. They had approximately 160 snakes in this house, and some of them were venomous snakes. They actually had black mambas and other things, and green mambas. So,
We have the law right down here. But,
so, I don't know, I see that ordinance that you maybe stole from somebody, but the thing is, when you do this now, don't worry. The one that I did, I had to do another one for the city. And I can make edits and changes and things like that, but it talks about people keeping their dogs outside in cold weather. It talks about venomous snakes. It talks about the types of snakes. And if you have, let's say, a python or something that's really big, you have to register it and you have to report it, that it's missing. I mean, nobody's going to do anything about it. I mean, if it's a pet, it's a pet. Some people have snakes, some people have spiders, and this and that. But what precipitated that was we had in Midland Borough, we actually had a snake that was named Baby. The baby was about 14 feet long, I think. It was huge, 12 feet maybe. The baby got up in the ceiling like they were like row houses, and it ended up falling through the ceiling into the bedroom of these people at night, of the next door people. Well, that almost gave a heart attack, you know what I mean? So if baby got loose, you needed to know where baby was, because you don't want to, choking out some kid. So, that ordinance has to apply to, and it's good you talk about chickens, but it talks about pigs and cows, and it specifies how large of a lot you must have, what zoning area it must be in. A regular 2-pager like that's not going to do.
What's that going to do? We already have in place for venomous reptiles and snakes.
about a year ago.
About a year ago, yeah.
We have an ordinance in place, but they have to register with the township.
Okay, that's good.
It's on our website, we can check on our website.
All right, I'll do that.
He's gonna redo it. Two pages.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Executive session?
Probably in the meeting.
And,
Correspondence.
all right. Public utility commission.
Who said that?
I did.
What happened? Public utility commission sent me, sent parties of record all about they finalized the construction drawings for the Salina Bridge. And I just want to report about everything about it.
Did you get a start date?
Yeah.
I have it here on the report right now.
I don't think.
June 2021. Yeah.
Well, it says here, they're fighting over, the railroad's fighting over the claims and all that stuff.
They said they would.
I think they got this ironed out to a certain extent. This is gonna be a couple years down the road.
Project's supposed to start second quarter 2024.
Yeah, it's sort of-
Then, into the fourth quarter of 2025. So, second quarter of 24.
Yeah. LSA, there's a new LSA grant application process that starts in September. I gave a copy of this email to the board, I got it from the county. I applied for this grant last year, this is a non-matching grant. And they're running, this is from gambling, so they're running another grant starting. And I just wanted to put it in front of the board if there's any ideas, because I applied for the water project, yeah, Flatwater. Was it Flatwater? Yeah, they shut it down. So I don't want to waste another 3 weeks of paperwork to apply for the same thing if they're going to shoot it down again. I called the LSA rep for the state and asked him if I could reapply for the same thing against permits. I find it ironic that I applied for a grant to run a water line that Moth would be putting in, and then I got shut down for a $600,000 grant, but Moth wanted a grant for $1 million more. I thought that was kind of ironic. So, if the board has any ideas on other things that we could possibly apply for that grant for, please let me know.
Before we move on that, Rich, since we applied for the LSA grant, phase 2 of Rose Street, did we reapply, or is that when they turned down yet, or?
They're supposed to be announcing those next month.
But on September 1st, the application process.
Right, starts
So
again.
we should hopefully hear, if we're gonna reapply for that, we should, they're gonna announce it September, they have to reapply. So I would say, let's, what, not that we won't do, but let's hold off on what we hear from the original.
Right. First.
Because what we applied for wasn't the statewide. We applied for the, it still falls under the LSA, but it's the PA small water and sewer section. So, I mean, but we can think of if there's other projects we want to think about, if we do get that grant from PA small water and sewer, and we can maybe move on to the next.
Because I'm sending in, that's the next, one of the topics of tonight's meeting, I'm reapplying for the third time for Chestnut Bridge multimodal grant for the state. So I don't want to apply for an LSA grant for the same thing. This is the third time we've applied for that grant, and from what I understand, this should be the time we get it. From all the experts I talked to, you have to apply for it 3 times, because if you annoy him enough, then they give you the money. That's what he told me, straight up. I'm like, what? He said, yeah, if they know you're not going away, they'll give you the money so you go.
Squeaky wheel gets a big.
Yeah, so, but if they gave it to us 2 years ago, it'd cost $280,000. They give it to us now, it's gonna cost $500,000.
Yeah, that's what the LSA grant is, like, what is it?
Gambling money from the state.
Feedback.
Alright. Kiski Valley Water Pollution Control Authority sent me over a resolution that they approved, sewage tap-in fee of $851 shall remain unchanged for next year, 2023, 2024. That's, for them, that's just for me to hold record for. That was mentioned too. Okay, that's it for correspondence. Old business, motion to approve regular meeting minutes from July 2023.
Got a motion? Jeff?
And a second.
Motion by Jeff, second by Dylan, approve the meeting minutes of July 2023. Any questions on that? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, thank you.
Motion to ratify full-time employment for Christine Blystone as police department clerk.
Maybe.
Motion by Dylan. Second by Jeffrey. To approve Christina's full-time employment for the police department as clerk. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion to appoint professional auditing firm Brian T. Kelly, CPA and Associates, to complete the 2022 municipal audit at a cost between $10,000 and $12,000.
And to make you aware, we've been scratching our heads and our butts trying to find an auditor. Pat's contacted 100 companies, and I think this is basically the only one's gotten back to you in time to fashion anyhow.
Like,
Second.
So this is for our 2022 audit. Motion made by Jeff, second by Dylan. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Chestnut Bridge grant document signatures, I have a resolution to apply for the grant for the chairman's signature. After I get that and collect all the necessary paperwork to send into the state, I'll submit the grant probably Friday. Because there's $100 fee to apply for it. I just wanted you to be aware that that's why I put it on the record, if they need to see it.
Before you move on,
Yes.
anything to Christine on this next item?
What's that, sir?
You get anything to Christine later on this next item?
with the police report, should be with
Yeah, it's with your police report, sir.
Get that before you. Give us a minute before we go.
Sure.
Okay, we need a motion to approve the hiring of Chris, I guess that's Christopher, yeah, Tessler as part-time officer for the department, police department. Good recommendation, the chief, pending one clearance has to be received. That motion to hire Mr. Tessler,
I'll make the motion.
motion by Dylan. I'll second that. Chris Tessler, part-time officer.
Scott,
Yes,
is this guy to fill in for the vacancy at the school till?
yes,
for now?
he is SRO certified and chief has spoke to,
Yeah,
Shouldn't you have, one of them there?
Yeah,
Resignation?
Beth resigned, we were gonna wait until next month's meeting to accept it for chief to be here. So he was gonna do it in the interim until we found a full-time replacement, for now.
Yeah, he is certified as an SRO officer. I think chief already spoke to the superintendent, correct, about this. Okay, we have a motion made and seconded to hire Chris Tessler as a part-time officer for the township. All in favor, say aye. Aye, opposed?
New business. Motion to ratify Senate engineering to perform road studies for selected townships listed at a cost not exceeding $1,500 and discussion to perform road duties on the remaining township roads.
He gave us a quote here.
3 weeks ago, I initiated the road study for the 2 roads that were damaged initially.
High Street, Florida.
Yeah, I wanted to get those studies done immediately, just to get the ball rolling faster. Because I, like you, time is of the essence here, and that's why I wanted to get those 2 done initially.
And along with that, I spoke to Engineer Lenhart too, also about Moore School Road and Glorieta Hill Road, because we're getting overweight trucks coming across there. And there's been some major damage to those roads too, so, Senate's going to study those roads also.
So we got
Those
those
over
over.
4 roads.
I assumed he would have that paperwork for you today, because he was filling out paperwork yesterday.
Yeah, I have
Because I had to go look through, mile per hour for the roads, and they lost breakdown. I thought he'd have this study for you today.
No,
We have to prove it first.
Yeah.
Well, I thought you have it, you have it.
Those four roads, the proposal was not to exceed the cost of $1,500. To do the remaining roads, it says here 91 roads. You know, that's the remainder of the township. The cost to do them all would not exceed the cost of $2,668. That does not include the four we've initially started. So that's what we need to discuss this evening. But that, I think if we get all that in place, as fast as possible, we can get this done, get the studies in, and get the ordinance published, and get it rolling, so we can fight against this. Because
How many roads?
it says 91 here.
91?
That was off that spreadsheet.
So that's 200 weight limit signs at around $60 to $80 a piece. Plus, if we need more post breakaways, talking $125 a sign.
Most of those roads would have signs on already.
But they go with increments of 5. They're all 7-ton weight limit signs. You'll have to, he's gonna check into it. It's more likely you'll have to change them all to 10-ton
So it's either 10 or 5, huh?
or 15.
Where did we come up with the 7-ton thing then?
In 1955.
Oh, great.
The origins in 1955. All roads are 7-ton unless otherwise posted.
Well, if we have to, we'll work on
Yeah, it's gonna be cheaper than fixing the roads every day.
Yeah.
Because once this, what I'm worried about is, if everybody finds out, oh, you can run your road, you can run Kiski Township roads and don't have to worry about any repercussions. That's what I'm worried about, because that's what's gonna happen. Because this guy's subbing out loading loads to so many different truckers. One of my friends is one of the guys running that truck. He said they're hiring people all over the place to run loads up there. So if that word gets out, we're gonna be in trouble.
Okay, so Rich, your proposal is for all of those $2,668.
That's in addition.
In addition to the
In
1,200.
addition to
The
the
four, the
1,500.
initial four, yeah. 1,500, yeah, not to expect, I think it says like 1,230.
So he told me 1,200.
Yeah, that's what he told me. So, I just wanted to explain that line so everybody understood where I was coming from.
Our
You should
motion
have
is,
this.
our motion does not exceed 1,500. We need to amend it to change that to include the 1,500 plus 2,668, am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. Do I have a motion to amend this agenda item to correct the amount under to 1,500 plus 2,668?
I'll motion.
Motion by Dylan,
Second.
second by Jeff. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. That's been amended. So 2,668.
You have to ratify the first purchase first. You have to ratify the 1,500 first. Then we're gonna vote on the extra keys.
Made the amendment to the agenda to include the vote, correct? Meyer?
You want to add?
You can do that, yeah, well, it's one project, I mean, it's not like you did two things, so, sure.
Okay, we want to, so just add them up and add.
Yeah, just add them, add them up.
I thought we had to split them up because they were different things.
4168.
Let's just make it complicated.
No, that's the way it used to be.
Okay, motion to ratify City Engineering to perform road studies for selected roads, which will include all the roads in the township, all the township roads, at a cost not to exceed $4,168. Perform road studies on the remaining roads approved.
And Mr. Chairman, once those road studies are done, if you look at the ordinance, there's an exhibit A, all we have to do then is attach that spreadsheet with the weight limits to that ordinance for that.
So we can probably do this by next meeting.
Yeah, you can do that next meeting.
Motion by
As long as he's got, as long as your engineer is
Not
starting.
me, not me, this isn't my wheelhouse.
You know, and then the other thing is, of course, you have to have the 7-day advertisement.
Right. So in other words, we're gonna wait for the engineer. I'll call him tomorrow.
Okay, so motion to have City Engineering, motion to have City Engineering do the study on these roads for a total of $4,168.
I'll make it.
Motion by Dylan, second.
I'll second.
Second by Jeff. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. We have a good start on it, sir. And Mr. Long can work on this starting tomorrow, Rich,
I will discuss it with Bill, I'm not sure.
as soon as
He's
possible.
one of the principals, so I don't know what his schedule
As
is.
soon as possible.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Patrick?
All right, I had to put this on the agenda for Armstrong Conservation District. In our July or August meeting, I just got this a couple days ago, so I had to go on the big meeting. Motion to be appointed stage for 2024 third gravel and low point roads grants application. Usually we have that, right?
It's already taken care of.
It's done?
It has to be in by the 25th.
I don't really think we have to vote on it, but I just wanted to mention it because I have to put it in my minutes for tonight. So, just scratch out a vote on that?
Yep.
Okay. All right, nothing there.
Okay, reports, police report. Chief's not here, but give us the report to look over. Any questions on the report? Make a motion to second. Motion made and second to accept the police report, made by Jeff, second by Dylan, all in favor say aye. Aye, opposed? Public Works report.
Yeah, we got that Anthony White Long Run Road all done. We was mowing a little bit. We patched for a while. There was numerous trees and water damage from this last few storms we've been having. We don't just get a little bit of rain, we get a lot of wind.
Step bumps out one time.
We'll go up tomorrow, and we'll put some millings on that road up there, on Ohio Street, that's all right.
Yeah.
We'll roll them in, and then we'll take a look at it every week, and take it, so you can drive.
That's
The roads will get tight, you know, then it'll be less, it'll be better to put gravel in and get the dust.
We'll just split the ground.
And the gravel will spin
Well,
around.
we'll take whatever you get,
The
but
millings are tight.
they'll split the ground.
You start making an appearance up there,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I think that's gonna slow them down. I apologize, I was unaware that.
Yesterday-
Being that bad.
Yesterday when I was up there, in 10 days, I couldn't believe how much water it
Big hits.
Yeah.
They said it went bad in 10 days.
Start parking the truck and blocking the road for a little bit and fixing it.
Oh, yeah.
Don't get ahead.
We'll have it all done. But, I was hoping to finish Fleckenberg, but if not, we'll finish it before the
They
weekend.
told me they have nowhere else, you know.
Then we'll start on the
Along the road.
Yeah.
Come from Schaefer to straight back. Instead of making bend it back and forth. They're ready to drive.
I mean, they may have some legal stuff on us, but we got some stuff that we can do too.
So, yeah, and like I said, we installed a couple of cross pipes on, Fleckenberg, we moved that pipe down. And I don't see anything happened, that's what we did.
Okay,
And then, like I said, the grant for Parks Hall, I got everything, all my numbers figured out and everything. I just gotta put my scrap papers on their forms and get that to them by the 25th. And then we're gonna start on that, the dirt railroad grant for this year on, or we're gonna get that done. So,
which one is this talking about? Is he talking about next year's?
no, this,
So this is for Horrible.
yeah, you're supposed to say about, having him come look at it and blah, blah, blah.
His applications are due by Friday, August 25th.
Yeah, that's it.
That's Horrible.
No, that was for Parks Hall, the next one. That'll be under drain and cross pipes, drain as well.
And that's that Greg guy.
Greg Smith.
Kurt Brown.
That's all I got.
Well, next time you go across Morrisville Road, check a couple places on the berm, these, it's breaking away. Maybe you can pass them up a little bit.
Well,
Up, up towards the top, towards summer.
we're gonna get that grant done, and yeah, I know that, and when we get that, we're gonna patch, I'm gonna patch that road up.
More importantly too, this is, you need to, you turn on Morrisville down the dip, first place where it levels off, there's a broken signpost when you're right up towards the roadway. Somebody runs off on that, they're gonna either puncture the radiator or blow a tire. It's been there for It's been there forever. Straighten it up, pull it out. There's no sign, there's just a broken post. Just pull it out. It's a hazard.
All right.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Rebecca, you're up.
I'll motion to approve your report.
Second.
Motion to accept the public works report, Bill and Jeff. Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None report, Rebecca.
Alligator report.
I don't have that.
I see alligators written on your report.
33 Cross zoning, one permit for a swimming pool, couple of non-building waivers for subdivisions and, farm exemption, for a barn, agricultural exemption. Referring all the code violations to the police department, got a building torn down, two new houses possibly coming into Kiski, working with them, with the sewage and with the builders and the realtor. 537 plan, I've been going up to the Armstrong County Sewage Authority because they have files and files and files of years and years and years of all the permits, so I don't have to harass people, I can go right up in there, get copies of that stuff and send that in, and that should satisfy.
What are we looking at?
Our percentage, maybe in September, would that be it?
They haven't done
To have my part done,
it? And submitted the DEP?
to submit it to me.
Oh, you?
Yeah, because it's, the report that we initially did is over 2 years old.
Right.
So all the population, all the costs of that are gonna have to be,
But it's actually already in the database.
it's there, it just
so-
needs to be updated.
Yeah, the information
You
can
think we
be,
could have this done, or at least submitted to DEP by the end of the year?
That'd be a goal.
Okay.
yeah, that's one.
Is that reasonable?
As soon as possible.
So if that's the case, what is the timeline for the sewage projects? When can we break ground on that?
Oh,
Penfest loans, you got
well,
all kinds of
you're,
stuff.
you're talking right to get the Act 537 approved, they're gonna probably have it 9 months to a year. That'll probably leave you with another round of comments, and then it has to probably get updated based on your comments. Because you gotta have
Any of
30
the
days
right
of
ways,
public comment.
surveys.
Still gonna be wrong.
Yeah.
And we haven't even got the permitting and drawings and.
Once the Act 537 is submitted to townships,
We're done with
out of it.
Yeah, I'm good. Then it goes to the board.
Yeah, then it's done.
Baby steps.
This is a big step.
Yeah,
It really is.
it's a start. Anything else? Motion to approve the zoning report.
Motion.
Bill, second. Second by Jeffrey, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Treasurer, vote to approve, moved by Patrick Bowman.
Anyone emailed to the board on August 2nd. I put treasury reports out for the people to read. I just ask you don't take them because I just ask you don't take them. If you want to take pictures of them, go ahead. But please leave them there because I want to be able to do this every meeting. So I just ask you to leave them here. If you want to take pictures of them, go ahead, but the documents themselves, if you can leave them, I appreciate it. I think I wrote do not take one.
That's a lot of volume.
I'll motion to approve it.
Motion to accept the treasurer's report by Dylan. Second by Jeffrey. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Public comment for any non-agenda items. Anything else anybody wants to question or ask about? Anything not on the agenda? Oh, Lamar,
What about the blighted houses and properties and stuff like that? Isn't there any kind of ordinance on that? Mowing the grass, junk cars, just cleaning the place out?
we have a junk vehicle ordinance.
What's that?
We have a junk vehicle ordinance.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
As far as-
You gotta have 2 out of the 3 on your vehicles.
You're allowed one unregistered, uninspected vehicle on the property.
Right, you have to have 2 out of the 3. Insurance, registration, and plates.
You're allowed to have one unregistered, uninspected vehicle.
Right.
Yeah. To have registration, you have to have insurance. It goes with registration.
And the junk and grass that's on there.
We don't have a living ordinance.
Right.
The nuisance ordinance was adopted some years back, the old state road house down here. What all does that cover? I'm not real familiar with it. You have to remember.
It didn't cover grass and light. And that has to be done through,
Nope, please.
policemen
Mhm.
for the blight, and that's like a long process.
Yeah.
It is.
It's a very long process.
We could use that. I don't know what property you're referring to.
With the light road. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
That's all DEP. You have to contact the DEP before you tear down any lights.
Well, even to get it zoned into the blighted houses, a very lengthy thing. That's what happened on the winter there.
There's a lot of hurdles.
The issue with it is you don't have a property maintenance code in Catan, in Kiski. You have the property maintenance standard. So you can have people living without water, without sewer,
Well-
without electric, without a roof that functions. Because you didn't adopt any property maintenance standards. You do have a blight ordinance, but it pertains mostly to garbage or health and safety issues.
It's what I was trying to get, find out what he was trying to get taken out. And that car had to be sitting on gravel too.
I don't think the state's that ordinance.
I thought you weren't allowed to park a vehicle in your yard permit.
Don't you get rats and stuff if you park in your grass?
I think it's, when it stated it had to be sitting on gravel.
I thought it was more along the lines.
Well, you're right, you're not allowed to. You're not allowed to park in your yard.
You have to just sit in the yard, that's just sitting on the driveway.
You mean like a Airstream trailer sitting in my field?
That's temporary for sale, that's, but I'm just saying for.
Yeah, I'm not, it's been a while since I've been over the junk vehicle ordinance, and I can't comment on all the aspects of it. But there is a junk vehicle ordinance in the township. And any ordinance work is, followed through by the police department. So if anybody has any questions or any any comments or problems about any ordinance item, it goes to the police department. Yes, ma'am.
Wouldn't that be like
Okay, your name and address, please.
Jordana, 1230 Old State Road? Wouldn't that be a health department issue?
Unfortunately, Armstrong County does not have a health.
We don't have a health department.
You don't have a health department. Could you go to the county?
County's gonna tell you the same thing, we don't have a health department.
That's what the-
We're not Allegheny County, we're not West Florida County. We don't have the Department of Health. Anything else?
Do you have the police statistics?
Pardon?
The police statistics? Statistics for the police? How many arrests, how many calls?
Well, that's a report.
Yeah, you didn't give it to us, I was wondering if that. Usually the chief does.
Dylan?
I'll give it to you.
Last call, public comment? Yes, ma'am. Name and address, please.
Bill Hall, 1373 Brownstown Road. Hall. The alligators. My neighbor has them in his swimming pool,
Yes.
and it's not on his property, it's on a vacant property, and he's allowed to get away
One
with
next
it.
door?
Yes, Renee's property. I don't know what her last name is now. She was Renee Renwick. It's her property. She never comes around. She doesn't take care of it. They took over her backyard. They put a swimming pool in. They threw a bunch of 4-foot alligators, same size that we found down in the river, in the pool, and put a fence around it. It was reported months ago. Nobody's done anything.
This was done last
It's in the Fish and Boat Commission's hands now. It's way above us. I can give you a number to
How is he
contact.
allowed to keep them outside in a swimming pool?
Yeah.
He was told when when he originally moved in and he tried to put a pond in his backyard to put his gators in, that he couldn't do that.
We have the humane officers and everybody out there looking at it, as well as the alligator experts, and then the Fish and Boat Commission and the, the wildlife officers
Yeah.
went out and they took over the case.
Right now, they're supposed to drain the pool. The Fish and Boat Commission
I've
gave the
seen no
order.
sign of the pool being drained.
Yeah.
The gators are still there, I see them every single day.
Right.
He's been feeding them, and he's been throwing the trash on my property.
Well, we can't be doing that.
Throwing trash on your property?
Yes, and I did report that to the police.
Okay, so that's good. So according to Dylan, he said the Fish and Boat Commission, Fish and Game Commission.
Yeah, they've assumed all of that investigation. That's their realm, they know all the animal laws for the state. They were given an order to drain the pool. They're supposed to tag and send pictures of each alligator to them, that way they can keep track. So that's where we're at right now.
You should tag it. I think they would tag it.
Yeah.
Because then when one winds up in Kiski, you'll be like,
That's what they're-
After the cops and everybody were up there, some reporters came up the next day, and he was in his front yard talking to him, and it was overheard that he wants to be known as the Gator Guy and have a sanctuary in his backyard.
Great.
You know, gentlemen, just so you know, when we discussed that ordinance before, the having snakes and everything else, I've actually developed an ordinance that completely prohibits anyone from even owning an alligator or having them on their property. That way you can enforce it and not worry about it. I mean, I don't know if she has little kids or not, but I mean, tagging an alligator or tagging a crocodile, they make nice boots, you know what I mean? Cowboy boots, right? But the thing is, I mean, you don't want them next door. You know?
What if
Would they be grandfathered
now?
So you could outlaw.
Would they be grandfathered in if we?
No. You can, once you make up the thing that says they can't have it, either they have to find a new place for them, or, you know, move.
I thought the state said you couldn't do anything.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, I don't know, I think
Fish and Boat guys.
If you have your own ordinance outlawing, you can do that. You send them a notice of violation, tell them that they're in violation of the ordinance. They have to pay, they don't do it.
You could, Mr. Stanovich, bring us that for next meeting.
Well, I have all your emails. I'll prepare one and send it off.
That'll work.
We could ban alligators in the township. Then we would do
No more gator guy.
it. That'd be perfect.
Jim, is that what he said? He's gonna forward us a copy of an ordinance. So hopefully next month we can figure it out. All right, I think that's all for public comment. Executive session.
We need executive session? I think we do.
Yeah, to discuss. Yeah.
Yes. Really? Oh.